The best part of the NFL draft is always the uncertainty. With round one right around the corner, the Eagles' plans, they might be changing, as a trade up for a new tight end prospect is reportedly on the table. Plus, why Adam Schefter said today that my favorite prospect is no longer in play for the Birds, and what's happening at the top of the draft that's making teams go crazy. I'm Thomas Mott, this is the Thomas Mott Show. The rule less than 48 hours from the NFL draft is take every single report, rumor, news dump with a massive grain of salt because every single team, including the Eagles, are lying their butts off to try to go ahead and hopefully land their top prospect. But if you follow patterns and put pieces together, I think you can figure out who the Eagles are targeting heading into round one. But let's be clear, things are 100% changing, especially for a player I considered possibly the Birds' #1 dream target in round one and Ole Miss's Walter Nolen, who's been rocketing up draft boards the past couple of days, and now, according to multiple reporters, is not going anywhere near 32 overall. For instance, Peter Schrager said this morning he'd be shocked if Walter Nolen fell out of the top 15. And ESPN's Adam Schefter backed up that report on The Fanatic this morning, claiming the Eagles' shot at the Ole Miss DT are basically nothing.
Philadelphia got lucky on Jalen Carter. It's not going to get lucky on Walter Nolen like that, okay? That's not going to happen. I don't think he's falling to 32. I would expect that he's gone... I would say somewhere in the teens would be my guess. You could just look at the teams that are picking there and the teams that need defensive line help. Like, could you see Atlanta take him? Yes. Could you see Arizona? Yes. Could you see Cincinnati? Yes. I mean, I don't think he's getting through to 32. But we'll see. That's what the draft's about.
Of course, if Philadelphia loves Walter Nolen, they can move up, as Jordan Schultz reported again this morning that several teams picking inside the top 10 are looking to trade back. But as I've said many times, going up 20-plus spots in round one, it's very, very expensive. So, as of right now, I'm taking Walter Nolen off my list of potential targets or realistic targets for Philadelphia. He stays on my dream target list. I would love for them to go ahead and get him, but he's probably very unlikely, and so off my board right now. Also, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Exter. I've been using the Exter wallet, for the past couple of weeks, and I absolutely love it. Recommended it to all of my friends and even just bought one for my dad. But then Exter sent me this, which looks very similar, but it's their brand new Exter Wallet Pro. And it's got a couple of new features that I think are absolutely fantastic. First, the already super slim design got even slimmer somehow, which is fantastic because I hate bulky wallets. I put it in my front pocket. This thing fits absolutely perfectly. And then they upgraded maybe my favorite feature, which is their card ejector. So you put 7 credit cards right here, and then you push this button, which is the upgraded part, now made of metal. Boom, 7 credit cards come up. You can pick which one you want. This is my Tesla key, but either way, grab it and you're good to go. And then they upgraded the build material, so the leather is even better. There's 0 plastic in this thing as well. And for something that holds 7 cards here and then 14 cards overall, plus a little slot for your money, the slimness I can't get over. This thing is so comfortable and 100% worth it. Plus, this Extra wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. Not many wallets you can say actually have that, and a ton of different colors and optional add-ons all on their website. And right now, Extra is having their spring sale, and so if you were to go to their website right now, you get 30% off. But because you're a subscriber of my show, you can get 40% off your first purchase of an Extra wallet. Go down below, link in the description box, click that, use the promo code ThomasMott at checkout, 40% off one of their wallets. I know most of you guys, like my dad, have had the same wallet for 40 years. Time for an upgrade. Try an Extra wallet. Trust me, you're going to love it. Players actually still on my board, especially today, are very likely options, including UGA's Malaki Starks, who recently liked this Instagram story about joining the Philly Dogs, not a surprise, followed shortly by Daniel Jeremiah stating that Starks would be a perfect fit for the Birds in 2025.
I think he'd be a great fit. You know, obviously they love shopping at that store, and he's a really, really good player who I think there's better ahead of him. I don't think he made as many plays this year as he did previously, but he gives you someone who in a pinch can play your nickel. I think he could survive outside at corner if he had to get out of a game. And I think he could be an outstanding, free safety, play over the top, roam and make plays. He's young. He's really, really well liked in that building in terms of the leadership, character, and tangible side of things. So yeah, that's I think that would be from a value standpoint and a fit standpoint would be great. It's just that, I think the Eagles, given their druthers, would rather, they always like to start big. So to me, if it's closely graded and there's an opportunity for them to get somebody on the line of scrimmage, I would think they would lean in that direction. But if they got wiped out and cleaned up on the offense and defensive line, man, he'd be a great fit.
And Daniel Jeremiah wasn't done there. He had another interesting clip that a lot of people are saying is Daniel Jeremiah referencing Howie Roseman in a discussion the two had about getting a tight end at number 32 overall.
When I started mapping this out, I was on with it. Well, I'll tell you afterwards, but with one of the better GMs in the league, and we were going through guys, and it was like you start getting to the end of the round, you start looking at names, and it's like, I know exactly what I'm buying with Mason Taylor. Like the rest of these guys, it's some hit and miss. And he's like, I know exactly who and what he is. So,
and of course, no way to know for sure, but Mason Taylor continues to be the hot name because A, you don't have to move up to go ahead and get him, and B, you probably are going to need a tight end at some point. And if Howie Roseman views Taylor as for sure being there at 32 and also a home run talent that you could just stay put and take, then I think tight end could easily be the answer to the Birds' biggest draft question. Next, two of the names getting momentum in Philadelphia both come from Michigan, starting with cornerback Will Johnson, who we haven't talked about a lot so far in this channel because a lot of people considered him, at least a couple of months ago, to be cornerback one in this class and a top 5 draft pick overall. But he's had some injury concerns, didn't play much his junior year, and so a lot of people have him falling in the draft the past couple of days, including Peter Schrager's latest mock having him go 28 overall to the Detroit Lions. And the Eagles got tied to Johnson a little bit more after this report dropped the other day that Philadelphia reportedly attended a private pro day for Will Johnson. And according to Anthony DeVonta, he's definitely a name to watch if he were to fall to the late 20s, right where Philadelphia is picking. The other Michigan player is actually tight end Colston Loveland, who is definitely the consensus number 2 tight end in this draft and not a prospect available at 32 overall. But according to PFF, the Eagles could go ahead and trade up with the Chargers to go ahead and draft Colston Loveland in a trade that would include Dallas Goedert. And they pick at 22, so the jump up in the draft would not be that expensive. You could probably go ahead and give them number 32 overall and Goedert in order to move up 10 spots and then land, again, a consensus surefire pick at tight end. This would be quite the first-round addition if you ask me. Of course, as I said at the beginning, take it all with a massive grain of salt, although Adam Schefter's interview on The Fanatic earlier today, it had this one little part that I thought was fascinating where he was talking to another GM who said that a lot of teams do not want to pick up the phone when Howie Roseman calls them on draft night.
They are mindful of his track record, because I did have one GM say to me this week where this guy was talking about moving back and who would come up, and Philly came up, and the guy goes to me, he was joking around, yeah, we're blocking all calls from the 215 area code into our facility.
It's hilarious that Howie Roseman has been so good as of late in the NFL draft that everyone is scared to make a deal with him. Because obviously, due to his history, if you're a GM on the other side of that phone call, you're probably going to end up on the wrong side of history. Still, this won't stop Howie from actually making trades up or down if he wants to, but you do wonder if the trade price is a little bit higher for the defending Super Bowl champions than, say, a team with a GM no one knows their name. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me the past couple of days, Thomas, give me like your top 5 realistic prospects, not trade up guys, Walter Nolen, someone we talked about a lot, trading up for Colston Loveland we just did, but 5 realistic options if Philadelphia just stays put at 32 overall. So here they are. First, obviously, Malaki Starks, talked about him before. We'll stay quick here. He fits a need. He's going to be there at the end of the round and did come in for a top 30 visit. Starks is definitely on everyone's shortlist. Next, mentioned again, Mason Taylor. Howie seems to like him. He fits a need. He should be there later in round 1. He didn't get a top 30 visit, but the Eagles did send Brent Selleck to the NFL Combine to meet with him. I think Mason Taylor is another one of these shortlist surefire additions. Next, we go to the defensive line, and if we have to pick one edge rusher who will be there at 32 and make some sense, it's Donovan Ezeraku, because not only did he come in for a visit, but if you just want the best available edge rusher who at least has a chance to be there at 32, Ezeraku makes the most sense. Personally, any combination of Walter Nolen, Mikael Williams, Jalen Walker, Mike Green would all be a better overall edge rusher, but again, those are trade-up candidates, and if the Birds don't want to do that, then Ezeraku makes the most sense there at 32. Finally, we hit on 2 cornerbacks here because the Eagles have met with a bunch more cornerbacks than really any other position besides offensive line so far with top 30 visits. Maxwell Hairston continues to be a name to keep an eye on. He probably is going to be there at the end of the first round. I see him more as a day 2 guy, but he did get a top 30 visit. He is going to be at the NFL draft in round 1, and Philadelphia likes him a lot, so keep an eye on Hairston. And finally, the other cornerback is Trey Amos. I like him a lot more than Hairston coming out of Ole Miss. He's been rocketing up draft boards, though. Did get a top 30 visit with Philadelphia. They continue to prioritize defensive backs because I don't know how much they love Kelee Ringo, but if they are going to go cornerback, I would go Trey Amos. He runs out my top 5. Now, of course, the NFL draft is not just the 32nd overall draft pick. A lot is going to happen, especially early on tomorrow night, Thursday night, which Josh Davis and myself will be live for. And the things going down reportedly in the top 10 are starting to get pretty wild. For instance, Shedeur Sanders, he's in an absolute freefall the past couple of days, with Tom McShay telling Colin Cowherd the best case right now, for Sanders at least, is 21 overall to the Steelers, with a possible complete fallout of round 1 still on the board.
Quarterback is not going at 3 from everything I can understand. So then Shedeur falls to 9. Everyone was saying for about a week, and I was saying it's not New Orleans. I don't think it's Shedeur New Orleans at 9, and I don't think it would be Shedeur to New Orleans at 40. Worst case, he goes 21 to Pittsburgh. I was told Sunday night when I landed here in LA by someone I trust that probably as much or more than anyone out there, that's a softer floor than people think. Maybe it's like, hold on these quarterbacks. I don't see the team out there.
Next, of course, running back Ashton Jeanty. Teams kind of had him as the 10th overall draft pick to the Bears, maybe a little bit later on in round 1. But as of late, you can pencil him into the top 5 spot overall according to reports, as the Jacksonville Jaguars and their brand new GM are absolutely in love with Jeanty. And finally, of course, Jackson Dart. I've said for weeks and weeks and weeks, obviously Dart's going to go in round 1, but he might go ahead of Shedeur Sanders now, and that's kind of a big deal. I could see him for sure going inside the top 20, but even the top 15, if a quarterback needy team is really desperate, 9 of the Saints makes some sense. Keep an eye on where Jackson Dart goes. He's a big-time storyline for round 1. Also today, we did get a report that the Eagles have officially declined the 5th-year option for wide receiver Jahan Dotson, making 2025 his final contract year in Philadelphia. This doesn't come as a massive surprise. Dotson did not perform enough to warrant the Birds picking up that 5th year, but it does make you wonder if he were to become expendable over the weekend. I mean, we have heard some rumors of teams being interested in possibly trading for Dotson. No official reporting on that, but the rumors are out there. And while I would like to keep him to see what he can do next season, if the price is right, would Howie be willing to trade number 83? Still, let's just be real. He's not making a ton of money next season as well, so it could just be a lot easier to keep him as the Birds' number 3 wide receiver in case of an injury and see if they can get him going in 2025. Still, though, as I've said, take it all with a massive grain of salt. I think I know where Philadelphia is going to go. I think one of those 5 players makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of backing off on trading up just because there's been some reports that it could be too expensive or teams don't want to trade with Philadelphia. I think it's still a possibility, but maybe not the massive jump from, say, 32 to 15. It's like 32 to 22, 32 to 28. That makes a little bit more sense, but we're going to find out tomorrow. And so all the rumors, all the speculation, all the, he said, she said, it all gets put to bed. We'll be live tomorrow night for night 1 and, of course, round 2 and round 3 as well on day 2. So go ahead and subscribe. We got a ton of things planned, myself and Josh Davis, and coming out for first round of the NFL Draft. I'm Thomas Mott. Pumped to be here. I'm pumped to be finally at the NFL Draft night. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.